We're back for another day, and it's going to be some Mr. Cat. My name's Purge. I'm here with Annie. We're going to be
Hi.
watching Signature Trust versus Warrior Gaming Unity. What is up with all these teams with their period second word name? You see what I mean? Like, Warriors Gaming period
Yeah.
Unity. I'm like typing it out every time. I'm like, God, this is annoying. Get a one word
Yeah, we
name,
got
you
like
know?
Orange Tarring, we got SIG, we got WG Unity. So, definitely a trend here in Southeast Asia. I'm interested to see if there's a reason why, or if it's just sponsors or whatnot. But interesting bands coming out at first here. We've got Darkseer Titan taken out. Darkseer becoming more and more of a priority ban. Usually it's just kind of that, you kind of know he's going to go off lane. There's ways to deal with him. Why has it become such an issue lately?
It's just easy to lane with Darkseer, basically. You cover a lot of bases with it, so in some games, if players like doing aggressive dual lanes or interesting setups, and Darkseer can be really good there. And I think that's pretty much it. Ricky is going to get banned as well, so I'm not too surprised. The only one that I'm a little surprised about is the Darkseer. I mean, I see the justification, but it's definitely a little bit rare. And Open Tide is pretty rare, so kind of depends if this is a playstyle they like a lot, just early group up push stuff. It also gives them a safe offlaner that guarantees them a mech as well. So I kind of like Tidehunter to open in some ways. Warriors Gaming Unity though with the Shadow Demon Mirana reaction, not very good against Tide necessarily. Killing him in lane will be difficult since he's just going to crack and shell break, but it's a decent opening. It covers them in a lot of different ways, and they can do like a core agility hero later too.
Yeah, I'm seeing this run more and more. I have seen a lot of mid Murano when it's run, but I'm not quite sure how successful that's been. It could just be those two roaming supports. Again, great arrow setup with that disruption coming in. You make lots of cute little illusions coming through. So, what potential synergies are there with like big carries here? I've seen a lot of Shadow Demon Terror Blade, but I don't really know if that's going to be in the books this time.
It's very likely. In most cases, it's pretty good. I guess Tidehunter is pretty good against it since it lowers your base damage, which any illusion based hero is going to have really high base damage due to agi items. But other than Terrorblade, there's Morphling and Luna. Those are the other two popular heroes that are drafted a lot right now as cores. So could be anything like that for Warriors Gaming. On Signature's side, they may want to do something like Juggernaut or Abaddon, something basically that can react to what Shadow Demon does, which is set up arrow combos. And if they don't do this as a dual support, it's very likely that it'll just be a Mirana core, either as the safe lane or the mid, like you said. And then Shadow Demon can just show up occasionally and set up those arrow combos without needing to like fully commit to being in the same lane as Mirana always. So I like it as an opening.
All right. I mean, the ultra cheese here would be for Warriors Gaming to go Meepo. They've done it a couple times before, and interaction of Shadow Demon illusions and Meepos, he can poof to them, right?
Yeah, I guess if you disrupt or Meepo, yeah, you can then poof to illusions. Funny story about that. I remember at TI2 when I showed up, they were talking about Meepo being in the game. Like Meepo was being baited at the time, basically. And I remember there being a bug like that. I don't remember why it was happening. Maybe like ARDM or something. They were talking about ARDM games, and they're like, "Oh God, we have to fix that bug because otherwise, if you would poof, you would actually just poof to any of the other meepos on the enemy team. It wasn't coded to just cover your same team." So
Oh no.
luckily, that doesn't actually happen anymore. But it's very fun being there when Meepo first came out. I got to watch Meepo and try the hero a little bit in the Valve studios. Good old times.
That's man, that's original. So Morphling gets banned out here, and I'm not really seeing a whole lot of Morphling synergy for Warriors Gaming Unity, but just the potential for him to start scaling out of control is always there. It's a relatively low pick rate, but when it is picked, it's a very high win rate, I think, this patch.
Yeah, I think so too. It does actually work extremely well with Shadow Demon. Just it's probably the most abusive combo with him in my opinion. I mean, Terrorblade on paper works really really well, but it's not my favorite combo. I think the Morphling one's better, just because the illusions are so stupidly strong in the late game. Because Morph gets so much agility compared to other heroes, and his farm is more guaranteed than a TB's is. Like TB's can kind of fall off in my opinion, and they don't have as much control over the fight. Whereas if Morphling gets a E-Blade, he just starts one-shotting people with combos. So I think that hero is a little bit more dangerous, and Tide actually can do very little against Morphling, in fact. So Morphling would have been harder to deal with, which kind of forces them into using Terrorblade, or maybe some other melee carry if they do want to go that route.
Yeah, obviously the Luna synergy is definitely there, but that lady on a cat will get banned out. So Sig really focusing down those hard carries now, leaving room for a lot of mids here. So if this isn't going to be a mid Marana, if it is going to be that roaming position 4, then Warriors Gaming have a ton of freedom. There's really been no mid bans at all, which is surprising.
Yeah, they're probably gonna wait to do it until a bit later, but yeah, mid is something they could do now. Let's see what else would be good this game. Disruptor is pretty punishing against a lot of heroes. I still think Jug is a possibility, I guess, against Ravage. Lifestealer could work as well. Lifestealer's okay in that lane, but they're gonna go for the Drow strat. So kind of interesting. Shadow Demon disrupting Drow for illusions is quite good at some stage in the game. In the early game, it's very good. Just really good damage across the board. It kind of counters Tidehunter in a lot of ways too, since it offsets what his Kraken Shell does in the laning stage. So interesting Drow pick. Not too
Oh
weird for
man.
or for Mr. Cap, that is. Mr.
Uh,
Cat.
Last night I saw Vici Gaming try to run a Drow strat up against eHome, and they got completely dumpstered upon. So we'll have to see if this is going to go differently.
Yeah,
It was
like half the time I see Drow strats, I feel like it just gets dumpstered and doesn't look good. Was it just like super one sided? Like what happened that game?
It was like Drow strat was there just to get some ultra push, and it seemed like eHome's lineup was very kind of late game. All they wanted to do was last out, like past the Drow strat. But then all of a sudden, eHome were the ones pushing. eHome were the ones going for aggressive smoking. So like 13 minutes in, and Drow had no response to that.
Yeah, she's definitely a hero that can't pivot super rapidly. And if she gets ganked a couple times and gets behind, then, or if she's up against the perfect heroes, she just loses games, in my opinion. So we'll see if she can work, but for now it's a little scary. With that said, though, Warriors Gaming Unity doesn't have that many skills that can stop their opponents from running at them. So I was wondering if Signature would go this kind of way where they just grab gap closers, like if they grab Spectre or Earth Spirit's a good example since you can rolling Boulder in. If they just initiate and go in on the draw really rapidly, it just forces her to run rather than sit and damage people at an extend or range at a range. That's the word. That one's better. Um, if if they can just kill Drow, initiate kill Drow, then the fight is usually won for them. So it's for now at least Warriors Gaming isn't ready to defend her.
All right, so going in, they're taking their time with this pick, assuming it's going to be a core Marana who's going to be shining with that precision aura. That means there is room for one more support. Do you think something like a Dazzle could fit in here?
Yeah, Dazzle would be good, I guess. Gives armor to everybody on Warriors Gaming. Um, Decent against Tide in the laning stage. I'm not super sold on the Dazzle heal here, though. Is the one place where I don't think it's very useful. Because obviously that combos well with melee heroes, more so than ranged ones. Although they could do Dazzle Shadow Demon combos. That would be an option. But yeah, Night Stalker I think is a little bit safer of a pick. It's tanky. It can basically stop Signature from running at you as supremely, and you can just silence Tidehunter, for example, and then ignore him. And that could go a long ways towards helping Warriors Gaming win team fights, whereas Signature normally would take those victories. I think it's a decent
So
pick.
is this the position 4, or could it be their offlaner?
Could be both, yeah. I think it's more likely the support, but definitely could be offlaner as well. Just unlikely offlaner. It's been so long since anybody really ran Night Stalker offlane, seriously. Um, I guess against Disruptor as well, it's really not that good. So you'd probably have to AFK jungle for a while. Could work, might not work. But at least they have silences already for Terrorblade. It's a pretty good game to have an abundance of silence for Warriors Gaming.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of tools to deal with heroes shoving at them, but Sig Trust, they're just really laying in here with the damage. They've got the Tidehunter to just kind of not care what you're throwing out, walk up Ravage and Earth Spirit Disruptor with tons of control. And now the final pick for Sig Trust should be a mid. Anything in particular you're hoping to see?
Gap closer, basically, again, would be really good. Something that's a little survivable to DPS and being out of position. Maybe something like Juggernaut's not bad here, just because it would be able to survive arrow combo, but could be something else instead. I'm not quite sure that what's a mix of all of this stuff. Maybe something like Razor could be good.
Ooh, I would like to see a Razor, but they're going to go for a Timber Saw. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of survivability. He's got some great
Yeah.
initiation as well. I'm liking Signature's draft. I'm not quite sure of the synergy here on Warriors Gaming Unity. I mean, individually their heroes are neat, but I don't know if this last pick can tie it all together in a pretty little bow.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially because they're kind of lacking a lot of disable. This is usually a lot of issue with Draw Ranger strats, is that they don't necessarily combo their supports with what they need to do. So right now they could be either looking for a carry or a support here. Offlane Night Stalker, not very sold on it this game, but support Night Stalker, really not sold on that. With a combo of Shadow Demon, that just seems like the most feudal ganks ever.
Ooh.
So it is going to be a support Mirana, it looks like. Mid Tinker, offlane Night Stalker. This is better, I think. Yeah, this is okay. They have way more damage now, and they really needed some kind of nuke viability. So I think the Tinker's a solid pick here.
Yeah, I mean, the play also could be just buy Night Stalker up an Iron Talon, screw the off lane, just get him some jungle priority farm, and then go rotate for ganks to try to keep Lakel's in check.
Yeah, I think that's the goal, basically. He may just focus on farming a lot, but as long as he continues to push out his wave, then he should be getting more last hits than the Timbersaw, especially after jungling. And this should hopefully offset a bit Timbersaw's advantage in the mid game, where he's very difficult for Warriors Gaming to kill.
All right, so I mean, I'm liking Signature's draft more. We talked about that, but with that last pick, Tinker, I think they've now got an answer to the push. They've now got an answer to not having any nuke damage. So I think it's going to come down to execution. Now, Warriors Gaming Unity, they've been looking pretty solid so far. Sig Trust, very boom or bust. They either come on, they perform, they look incredibly cohesive, or they seem to just completely crumble.
Well, hopefully for them, at least, it looks a little bit better this game. I mean, I'd really like to see a very close game. Shadow Demon dropping some pretty deep board here. Looks like he TP'd aggressively with a Windlace. And just the old Tango Clarity Potion. Yeah, Night Stalker is off lane. 2 sets of Tango's Salve and a Stout Shield. It's pretty decent against the right click of Signature Trust, but Earth Spirit should be able to punish this if he is in the area. But we'll likely see him pressuring mid a lot more than that.
All right, do you think we're going to see Night Stalker go for that Iron Talon at all, or just try to stick it out and hope for the best here?
Kind of depends where Earth Spirit spends his time. If he's trading hits often with just Disruptor, then he's probably fine with what he's doing. But later he may go Iron Talon instead. It's just better to get experience and stay in lane a little bit, though, I think. He should be survivable enough against Terrorblade, basically.
Mirana able to go through and gets the D-Ward deep into her own jungle, so that's going to be a little bit of gold, tiny bit of XP going her way, just getting that D-Ward out. So definitely good use of her time so far.
Yeah, it keeps happening. I open up the last hit chart and I'm like, why does somebody have a last hit? It's almost every game.
Yeah, it's a nice little observer ward there, so chunk of gold going her way. And, well, as these wards go, or rather the runes spawn, I don't think Wen has a shot here. Goes in very aggressive. I'm not quite sure that's the play. They bring in the disruption. There's going to be an arrow to follow up. They've got the damage. Wen taking a little bit too much, but my pro, that looks like he could be going down here. A couple more hits. Can they get it? The first blood will go the way of Warriors Gaming Unity. They're looking for more. It's Lakel's. He's in his metamorphosis form, but still taking a ton of damage here. They've now got that void up in 1 second, but the chase will stop. So in the end, it's going to be a free kill there, and no one has to pay the ultimate price.
They maybe could have chased and killed Terrorblade as well, but would have been a tough arrow, basically. They're not done, though. They're going to at least zone the Timbersaw a little bit here. This is a really nice thing that they can do. If they're all top lane anyways, they might as well give Tinker a little bit of space. They also grab Heat-Seeking Missile level 1. That's actually a pretty good idea, considering that most nukes do like 75 damage with 1 skill point, and with 2 here, he did 125 magic damage to 2 heroes. That's really good skill to open up and do a rune fight.
Well, up top, we've got to roll in onto Wen. He should be okay, but again, taking a lot of damage. Already down to 6 tangos, so he's already eaten up 2.
That's what he gets for the rune, though. The Tinker also got the bounty rune top, so that was actually very, very good for Warriors Gaming Unity. They will be happy. Mirana's also going to steal some experience from the neutral camp, which actually just forces Tide to not even hit 2. It's a tough life. The Iron Talon doesn't always get you everything you want.
Tinker being such a pest here, forcing out that salve from the Timbersaw, so he's going to be out of regen for the next 30 seconds while this Tango cools down. And I mean, that wasn't even heat-seeking missiles or lasers. That was just right-clicking, auto-attacking him between creep scores. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see if Timbersaw is able to come back from this.
You can get him low. You can get him that low without casting a spell. That's amazing. I didn't know that was possible.
It's definitely difficult, but just look at him go. Just so much harass coming out. He's keeping him on his toes, keeping him backing up. There will be a roll in as maybe Nana gets punished for this. Yeah, he's going to get body blocked in. Not much he can do, but he will be able to use the laser to take out the Timbersaw. Before he goes out, he's still alive. The Mirana leaping in, doing her stuff. She's got herself a clarity rolling out onto Nana. Maybe she lands an arrow here. She's got 1 shot if she wants to go in. But either way, Really cheeky place there from the Tinker. I love it.
And that's the bottle for Tinker. Already finished at 2 minutes, which means he's going to grab top rune. Very good for him. Boots his speed on the way. And his lane's going really well against Timber. Most Timbers are very difficult to kill, but when you get a rune advantage against your opponent and you get a solo kill, yeah, this is his second kill now in this game. He's got both of the kills. He's really ahead.
Yeah, we see him just using that laser to be kind of a twerp and stop that last hit and coming through. So my pro definitely starting to suffer in terms of overall last hits. He's only got 7 to his name.
Yeah, and with Arcane Rune now, he's even going to spam more heat-seeking missiles.
That's
Tough for
fun.
Timber. Like, he doesn't even have Poor Man's Shield this game. He skipped it. May have been a mistake. But now he's really behind. Level 3. Only 7 CS versus Tinker's 14. Not good.
I'm very surprised how well Night Stalker's holding on here in this top lane. A lot of it's because he hasn't faced a whole lot of pressure, as Sig Trust are using their supports to make sure there's stacks and that Terrorblade's farming, but Night Stalker is definitely not falling behind here, not what I expected.
Huh. Well, it was just one support. Mostly it was Disruptor in the early game, so he was just trading Tangos basically to trade with the Disruptor and get as much experience as possible. Mirana's still following Tide around a little bit. Goodbye Clarity Potion.
Oh, she's full mana anyway. What's the worst that could happen? She's just going to be a pest there, heat-seeking missile, spraying out the damage here as, I mean, my pro can barely get up into XP range. She's going to be level 3.5 to Tinker's 5. That's starting to be a huge discrepancy that could turn out in more and more kills.
Yeah, that's actually massive. Your mid is basically your offlane. Look, he just comes forward and does 250 pure damage to that guy. That's 3 levels of laser, actually. Kind of cool to see him just completely skip March. This may affect him drastically in the mid game. In a lot of cases, Tinker usually just maxes March and he gets a lot of farm with this, but he's going for a lane domination skill build especially, so he might have farm problems in the mid game, which could delay things like his blink after BOTs.
I mean, I've seen this build a couple times in the Tinker, especially in the EU scene, and it's actually not that bad as long as he continues to get kills in the mid lane. If for some reason Timbersaw bails here and Tinker doesn't get anything else for the next couple of minutes, then he's going to start to have some problems. If he gets another kill, totally worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully for him he can, if he wants to have a pretty normal game. But cool to see Timbersaw lose for once in a lane. Apparently he can.
Down bottom, lots of big rotations in. It looks like this tower should be going down fairly shortly as there's really only a Tide Hunter there to stop it. He's level 2. Oh, now he takes over to level 3. But either way, probably not enough resources as Drow just lays in. They bring the point blank arrow. That's going to be a big kill. Mirana actually taking the credit for that one as Drow Ranger is able to go and get some more free harass onto the tower.
Yeah,
Mid lane though. Oh, Nana in some trouble. There's going to be a kinetic field that will go off the mark. They've got the glimpse back in. Kick around. Nana trying to juke for his little life there. He's got one more laser. Can he live through this? He's dragging 3 heroes up to the high ground. He's going to be eating up a tree on the way back, and that's going to be maybe a clean getaway. You've got Earth Spirit 4 seconds there on the rolling boulder. There's going to be another kinetic field. He's going to catch out Nana, but there's the disruption to go in and try to buy some time. Whirling Death coming out. Terrorblade actually having to bring in a big core of the damage. Jab's getting kind of low. Maybe one can take him out. He's going to get silenced up. There will be a Mirana Starstorming all the way, and there's going to be a Shadow Demon falling out. Another kinetic field. This time not going to be on the mark as Wen. Going to be surviving through this, but 2 heroes dropping on Warriors Gaming Unity for only a support.
That was a godly kinetic field that basically got them 2 kills. I really thought Tinker was going to get away there. But that was the one way to stop him. Really nice snag by Disruptor, keeping the game together.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice showing. Signs of life there from Sig Trust. They're not going to get completely dominated. They do go Iron Talon Timbersaw and kind of bail him out here. He's hitting them mud golems. I mean, does he ever feel safe to go back in lane? Oh, hold that thought up top here. We are going to have a kinetic field zoning back when he wants to run back on through. Nana wants to get something done here. Heat-seeking missile. Will it connect? It looks like it will be enough. They got the void. Oh, God. 8 HP and one more swat will secure Night Stalker his first kill of the game.
That's just such good chase at nighttime. Basically, you're getting huge vision for Night Stalker. He just TP'd the offlane there, and in the meantime, Mirana's been mid getting solo experience, and Shadow Demon doing the same thing. Like, they get so much from doing this actually. So even if they do go a ganking Tinker build, as long as they go places where enemy heroes are, he can easily help out just with huge nuke damage. Might even die here.
Iron Talon, man. He's farming. He's getting those last hits. He's slowly climbing back up the chart. Oh my God, the arrow coming in. The Starstorm chunking him down. Mirana, stone cold killer.
God, I love watching good Muranas. You know what? I think that's actually one of the things I hate the most about playing pubs though is when I play with Muranas that don't know how to roam Murana. And they like skip arcane boots, they'll go like Aquila or something, they have no mana ever. And they don't like arrow creeps occasionally just to gain levels. Man, it's beautiful watching good Muranas though. Like she's played so efficiently, she's almost level 6 now. I mean part of that's because she sat mid for a bit, but like this is such a huge threat. She's constantly gonna get levels from neutrals. She can
Oh,
score kills on so many heroes. It's just really
Moonbell
strong.
able to TP out. Not going to be anything up top in terms of kills, but Drow Ranger now rotating up top. She's got herself some solid right-click damage here, already picking up that Morbid Mask, flying in an Ogre Club, so Drow is starting to show up here. Looks like she will go for that Dragonlance build.
Yeah, any draw that doesn't go Dragonlance would be very, very uncommon at this stage in Dota, just because the item's so good for what draw wants to do. And I kind of like that she's moving around and putting pressure on different lanes. Like, if it was a different hero trying to guarantee that tower kill, it's not super reliable just because they don't have as much physical damage. Like, what is Night Stalker gonna do to a tower? It's so much easier if Drow just shows up and kills it.
Yeah, I mean, her objectives right now, get those tier 1s, continue to lane farm. She's going to be dominating the last hits. Terrorblade with a relatively free lane, sitting at 51. Drow Ranger 74. That's silly.
Yeah, it's really good. So TB's just trying to accelerate as fast as he can right
Oh,
now.
Mirana. She's looking for the arrow here. If they get this snipe onto my pro, this could be for sure another kill. It's going to graze right past, unfortunately. But that's going to be Timbersaw definitely still clenching, never feeling safe, even under his own tier 1.
Yeah, he used Swirling Death there. That probably would have been a more likely arrow if he went for the last hit. So you got to read patterns like that when you play roaming Mirana. When is he going to stop and go for a last hit? If you can predict that perfectly, you can get a lot of easy kills. So March level's finally coming for Tinker now. He's got 1 point to March the Machines. Most likely will completely max that out. In the past, most Tinkers would do like 2 points in Laser Missile. So just 3 points in each is kind of like a good medium between the two. You still have really good nuke damage, but you're not all in on delaying your March the Machines.
Yeah, I mean, here's that March coming out, just completely zoning back the Timbersaw. He doesn't want to fight into this just yet. There's going to be a big group up, though. You've got those smoked supports coming through. If smoke is going to expire, they want to go for something. They want to roll. We'll see if they're going to be able to initiate
It's
here.
their
If they
time to
catch
go.
out... I mean, if they catch out Tinker, that could be huge. It's going to be rolling in. They're not going to connect. They will get the silence off onto when the Moonlight Shadow comes in from the Rana. There's going to be a kinetic field. Not going to be that godly this time, as we're just going to have little timber chains all around the map. Zaki spraying out that poison. Well, there is going to be reduced pressure on the tower. Meanwhile, up top, Wen still fighting. Will be able to get down the Timbersaw once again. It has just not been his game. That's going to be his 4th death of the game.
I just can't believe how bad they're making Timbersaw look this game. It's really respectable. They did a great job there. Lots of Shadow Poison stacks. The little Soul Catcher and Timbersaw just dies.
Oh, Mirana goes in, gets that nice little high ground ward. Could look for a snipe onto the rune, but instead just going to show some mercy, back off, get some lane XP. Maybe rotate top and... Well, what's she going for here? She's picked herself up a bracer. Is that casual bracer, or does she go all the way to the drums?
I think it's definitely going to be a drum. I don't think she really needs casual HP in this kind of a game. It's not like there's super punishing nuke. And she's quite far ahead. And she already had Wind Lace on top of that, so very likely going to be that. Oh, great arrow there. Right past the catapult.
Man, this Mirana is just on fire. I'm loving it here. It's one of Afu's comfort heroes. I've seen him play it a couple times, but it is absolutely shining here, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Timbersaw is getting handled.
Yeah, that's true. He's been pressured a little bit. The Tide's still trying to catch up. Level 6 on him. Oop, they're going to go for a kill here.
Oh, yeah, they are here. They should be able to get it here. There's going to be a roll in. They pop out something here. Afu is going to get dragged every which way. A glimpse back through, and that's going to be a dead Mirana. That's a big bounty. That's almost 300 gold just for that support kitty cat. Tide Hunter going to get the credit for that, so that should help him out. Should help him come back. But speaking of comeback, we've got Night Stalker picking up a Midas. That's too greedy or just greedy enough?
It's just greedy enough. For an offlane, I think you need to guarantee some level of farm, because otherwise you hit the mid game or the mid to late, like the 30 to 40 minute mark, and you're just running around casting voids and silences and giving vision, and that's sometimes not enough as an offlane hero. So if you can use this early advantage and turn it into a Midas, it's really worth it, as long as you transition the rest of your builds in the game to the late game. So for Drow Ranger, for example, I could justify her getting something like Ags or another item that is going to guarantee her late game, especially against a Terrorblade. She needs some AoE to deal with him, so I would really like it if she built Ags this game. And basically the Midas of Night Stalker will help hit that like 40-minute window rather than the typical like 20 to 30 that Drow is really good at.
Okay, we've got a full smoke here. It looks like they're trying to make something happen. Obviously, no blink on Tide just yet. Maybe he walks in and gets something done. The scan from the Dire does reveal that Zaki's ambling around. There's someone in the jungle. This could be a nice rotation for them, but they opt to just kind of back off. Not going to go for anything here. Instead, plopping down a sentry, getting that D ward rolling. So Boombell making himself useful, but still having some tough times here. Hits that level 6, not able to get anything done with that initiation with Stackstorm.
They need to, though. It's very
Yeah.
good to be able to get kills with that hero. So
I
some
mean-
kind of movement would be really solid for them. But they would love to grab a Tinker, for example. But he's playing pretty safe now. And with 3 points in March, his creep waves are all actually dying.
Looking at the net worth distribution here, you've got Drow Ranger just soaring up way above that Terrorblade. Terrorblade has felt like an absolute non-presence. He's going back. He's trying to get some farm. He's got himself a Dragonlance for stats, but why has he just felt so flimsy?
It's basically just Terrorblade. If he doesn't use Metamorphosis, he doesn't have a huge damage impact. So mostly he just sits in the lane and gets last hits. But if there's been some pressure up there as well. Tinker came and ganked. The Night Stalker's been a threat. He ends up killing Terrorblade one time. It's just one of the issues with TB. He's not the strongest laner and can be punished there.
All right, so big rotation in. It looks like
There are
Sigtrust
hits.
trying to finally make something go down. Zaki's waiting here in the wings. Could just start spraying out poison. Lots of pings going out as Warriors Gaming Unity. They kind of read the situation. They're like, all right, you guys want to group up? You want to rotate? We'll just make all the space in the world as Nana rotates up top, has that machines ready to go, and could apply some pressure to the tier 2 here.
Alright, well, they smoked most of their heroes, looking for the setup. They're approaching where Drow is, and she did go Helm of the Dominator. Oh, they broke smoke on somebody else.
Oh yeah, they're looking here. It's not going to be the kill they want. It's just going to be when nice Moonlight Shadow reaction time, as there is going to be a rotation back from the Tinker. Maybe they look to actually flip this around onto Sigtrust. That could be a play here. They've got that Ravage. You got to be very, very careful of that. It's just going to be a void eaten up by the Tide Hunter. And now we do have the heat-seeking missile spritzing out. Just going to go onto them illusions, but that seems to be the end of the engage. So a lot of resources invested from Sig. They pop smokes. They rotate all together. They skip out on some farms, skip out on some levels, and I mean, Warriors Gaming Unity don't seem any weaker because of that engage.
Yeah, they're actually very much getting behind because of all this. Like, if you don't get a kill when you smoke 4 heroes, especially when you had your carry coming with, it's putting you severely behind if your opponents are still farming. And they definitely are. Drow Ranger's spending time in jungle. She can basically constantly farm no matter where she goes, just due to having the Helm of the Dominator. So, she's going to keep accelerating. Level 11 for her. And no end in sight, basically. Definitely out farming her opponents.
Oh god, right here, the Timbersaw getting handled, and it's not really his fault. He just wants to farm. He's sitting under his own tower. But there's so much punish coming out. All it takes is the Shadow Demon to get that catch, and then you've got an arrow from half the map away. You've got Tinker there at a moment's notice with the Boots of Travels. It seems like Sig, there's nothing they can do to get this mid back online. They've got to go with their Terrorblade fallback plan, but he's not seeming like he's up to the challenge right now.
Yeah, exactly. The hero just doesn't do as much mid game. If you kind of snowball and you do this like tower push advantage thing that Drow Ranger does, and then he can get ahead and create space for you in that way. But maybe that's part of the reason that they decided to pick Drow, because they think that he's the best one for the job. Oh, they
Boombell not
almost
going
got
up
that kill.
aggressively there, but there's going to be a smoke. They're looking for this. It wasn't necessarily a bait, but it was at least Warriors Gaming Unity trying to get some pots stirred. They're trying to make something happen, continue the pressure, because I think Warriors Gaming Unity, if they take their foot off the gas pedal, they could start to fall behind a little bit. They've got to keep those rotations up, keep the pressure going, keep Sigtrust wondering where everyone's at. But for now, they're feeling very safe.
I mean, I think it's okay if they let up the gas just a little bit here, but they don't necessarily have to. I mean, what does it mean to put the gas on in the context of this game is my point. Warriors Gaming Unity basically are just going to be farming 3 to 4 heroes constantly across the map, and that's their goal, especially during daytime. During daytime, they don't want to fight, and most of the time, they don't want to team fight because their opponents have Tide Hunter and a lot of advantage. Miranda's probably going to die here, I think.
I mean, she's going for the Moonlight Shadow. She's got that leap into the trees. Oh, tries to leap, but the glimpse takes her. She is going to end up dying.
I think he ravaged because they had no vision at the time, so he just wanted to guarantee a kill. And considering how often that Warriors Gaming Unity is just avoiding teamfights, it was probably fine to ravage there, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it looked goofy from third player perspective, but I guess if you don't have eyes, you got to make sure something goes down. Meanwhile, Tinker is able to go through and get another kill onto the Timbersaw. 0-6. that just feels like it's completely fallen apart here, and it's not
Yeah.
necessarily just faulty play from the Timbersaw. That's just absolute control exerted at all times. Warriors Gaming Unity have kind of made that priority list. Timbersaw's at the top, and they are doing a very sufficient job keeping him very crippled at this point.
He just had so much trouble in the mid lane. A little bit of Mirana zone, and just death after death, basically. Tons of damage and a great Tinker build that transitioned them well. They're very close to Aethelins now on Tinker, so good for them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the overall net worth chart, you've got MyPro on the Timbersaw being pretty well underneath the net worth of the Shadow Fiend. Or Shadow Demon, there we go, that's the right one.
Oh, this is dangerous.
Oh! Okay, that's
They
gonna
killed
be...
that. They killed it too.
They killed the Roshan, they snatched the Aegis, they're looking for something here. Drow Ranger might get controlled up. They do have the Tidehunter, no Ravage on him. He will get burned down to the Frost Arrows, that's only his first life. Zaki getting slapped down by the Metamorphosis will end up going down. No uphill mischance for him this time, as we are going to have Shadow Demon Disrupted Illusions going in. The Sunder coming out though. Tidehunter may give his life for this. There will be a pause from the Tinker. I think Drow's having some lag.
I think they're sorry. I'm
They're
not
very
sure, though.
sorry. Okay, we're going back in here. It looks like there could be a kill onto the Terrorblade, and that will be the play
Oh,
there.
look at this damage. Oh my god.
Reset there, as it looks like they will be able to take out the Tidehunter, so that Aegis not going to keep him alive forever. Perhaps they look for more here. Boombell going to be one of the survivors along with the other supports. That's going to be Nana unleashing the missiles, but it looks like he's able to gobble up a Fairy Fire. You've got no more mana there for the Tinker. Trying to do what he can there. He's got the Soul Ring. Will he be able to get the vision for the Heat-Seeking Missile? No. Just going to go back to base, reset. So in the end, only the supports survive. Don't know how much of that was pause helping you out, but either way,
No,
only
none
the
of
mana
it.
dropping.
Look at that net worth. Do you really think? Come on, this had nothing to do with the pause. This was just like overwhelming, like net worth dominance. Like I felt like the Timbersaw just died basically to the Shadow Demon illusions of Terrorblade as well. Like they just did so much in that team fight in terms of DPS. Like it was incredible. The only person that actually did die, I believe, was what Shadow Demon kind of got killed from a lot of attacks.
Yeah, Shadow Demon and Mirana ended up going down as well, but that's a worthwhile trade. I mean, those are technically your support's heroes, even though Shadow Demon is sitting well above the net worth of everyone but the Terrorblade on Sig Trust.
He's actually so farmed to have an Urn and a Force Staff this game. He's doing great. 40 CS for 20 minutes as a SD support's really good. The Force is just so good this game. It's great against Timbersaw to save people. You can Force Staff out after Glimpse as long as the kinetic field isn't completely solidified yet. There's just so many good examples of why this early item build is going to do a lot this game.
All right, we've got Blink Ravage here. Maybe Mirana goes for the snipe of her life. If she can land this, she's got a buffet of dire heroes to choose from to start spraying out the damage. The smoke comes out. Mirana knows something's up. There is going to be the smoke pop. Leap down to the low ground. Oh,
Wow.
she is on point with this movement right here. So now there's going to be wards popped out everywhere. Sig Trust knows someone's around. Will they be able to surround around on her? Fu's sitting there in the trees trying not to make a sound.
it's all right.
Mass pings come out. Yeah, she's going to try to TP away. It will get cancelled. Looks like she will end up going down here, but keeping control, keeping eyes on 5 heroes, that's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, that's actually an okay trade despite her being a free death there. And she was just scared to run, mostly because if there was a ward anywhere in the area and Disruptor was semi-close, a glimpse back was guaranteed, so she thought it was better to hide. If those trees weren't slightly cleared, she definitely would have survived there. Either way, breaking the smoke and her dying for that, completely worth it.
Absolutely. I mean, the overall net worth chart now ticking over 15,000 in favor of Unity. And, I mean, we talked about the itemization of Drow making her a little bit more survivable. Meanwhile, up top, Lakel's will be going down.
With
There's a Ravage not connecting on anyone. I guess he was trying to save his buddy, but those are not friendly tentacles as Zaki is going to get trapped in the trees, but Abba may trade his life for this. A couple more right clicks from Nana should do the job. Now they bring in the Drow Ranger. Gust is going to be off the mark here, but it looks like Jab's still going to get burned down from those Frost Arrows. Nana getting a double kill now, dominating streak up. That's going to be a big, big chunk of net worth there going the way of the Tinker, and it's only going to be Disruptor Timbersaw left to defend the high ground. This Timbersaw, I mean, we're 21 minutes in. He's got like 0 progress towards that Bloodstone. And up here under his tier 4s,
Oh my
going to get
God.
plucked down like a freaking dandelion. That's going to be double buybacks coming out. You've got the Tidehunter, but no Ravage on him again. He whiffed it last time completely. Maybe they get the kill on the Tinker. That could be huge. The Moonlight Shadow coming in. But again, they've got some vision coming out. Okay. Looks like they are looking to turn this here. Tidehunter, that's a dieback. And this could just be GG as they have very little control to deal with this high ground push coming out right now.
Yeah, they just consistently are shutting down Timbersaw. He's never able to get anything now. He dies all the time. constant combos, magic nukes, things like that. He doesn't have a good solution against all these kinds of heroes on Warriors Gaming. And that last pick coming out for Signature Trust just has felt so wrong. They just keep getting their items here. Ags is up on Tinker as well. Like, he's really farmed.
Yeah, he's just starting to lay in the damage there. It's going to be nighttime as well, so that's Night Stalker's time to shine. And Boombell has had one Static Storm. I mean, if he can land the most clutch Static Storm ever, maybe Sig Trust have some control over this, but otherwise it seems like Unity are just playing with him.
I don't even know if that would matter. He could get like a 5-man Static Storm, and I think Drow would just auto-attack the ground and just like win. Like, look at that. As long as Tinker's not in there, they win every fight, and good game is called. Like, double racks at 22 minutes, the game's over. Like, it just ends so abruptly. Just amazing dominance from Warriors Gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, this was a very successful draft coming out. I had my doubts. I didn't quite see the synergy, but I'm a believer now in this Drow strat. I guess I gotta leave those Chinese Drows behind. This SEA Drow strat is much different. Just get in there, focus, help with your team. And that Tinker, man, he carried so hard.
Well, that's going to be the end of Game 1 then. We'll see if Sig Trust can come back in Game 2 and play better than they did in the first game, but this was a really rough start to them and really sick game for Warriors Game. I was really impressed by the Drow's farm level. He consistently pressured in really smart ways. He did a lot of tower damage. Really good performance from basically everybody on that team. They all played fantastic. So we'll be back in just a second, guys, with Game 2 of Warriors Gaming versus Signature Trust. Don't go anywhere.